Over the next few months, it's going to be very difficult to avoid political discourse by nature of the election. Just a fact of the matter. But soon to be brides and grooms are employing new strategies to keep their weddings politics free. Brides like Caitlin Kronkowski, the woman in the cold open, and Amanda Taylor are making their boundaries known from the moment guests walk in with signs like this one. This event is a politics-free zone. Taylor told the New York Times, "Between me and my fiance, we've got people from both ends of the political spectrum who are going to be attending the wedding. There's some people that just feel very passionately about certain topics, and it could potentially be a whole ordeal. Anything can be political, and with the overall environment of the country and everything right now, it is hard not to talk about it sometimes. The wedding day is about me and my husband. It's not about Harris or Trump or any other politician." She added her goal is to try to avoid any political drama that comes along with political discourse. But brides aren't just making signs. Emma Zyla, who will marry 2 days before the election in Massachusetts, is also trying to evade any fighting. She and her fiance are carefully planning their seating chart so that people with similar political beliefs will be at the same table. She also told her parents to be on the lookout to shut down any political debates, and she has several activities planned throughout the night, including a photo booth and a live painter. In my experience, those uncomfortable political discussions tend to break out when you're just sitting and drinking at the table. But some go a step further and wonder why you'd even invite people with differing views and morals in the first place. Logan Watchorn, a 19-year-old 911 operator from Cleveland, said he had severed ties with several family members who didn't share his views. "I just can't imagine having people that don't support the same morals as me in my wedding," he said. Cenk, what do you think of this? Do you think that disinviting or not inviting or making strategies to avoid political discussions at a wedding is something people should do?
No, I think it's a disastrous idea. So what are you gonna split families based on disagreeing over politics? We all disagree. We disagree on different things and in different levels. I don't agree with everything on Jordan. We had a debate the other day. Fine, he got his way. No, not a big deal. Okay. But it's okay. I did the first hour with Ben Glebe. I've had massive shouting matches with Ben Glebe. Guys, we can't let the politics get personal. And I know it's super hard. Look here, I'll give you a perfect example, right? Well, you say, well, Cenk, does it affect you personally? And so you would know how I feel. No, I know exactly how you feel. Trump, in the campaign in 2016, said we should have a complete and total ban on Muslims coming into this country. That Muslims, by definition, are so dangerous, so potentially violent, that they shouldn't be allowed in this country. And then he went on to try some sort of travel ban, and we don't have to get into how did that travel ban wind up, but there's no question that he said on the campaign trail that, yeah, I don't want any Muslims in this country. And people knew that, they definitely knew that, and they voted for him anyway. So it doesn't get any more personal than people saying, yeah, I'm voting for the guy who would ban you from the country. But I could still talk to right-wingers because that's life, guys. In life, not everybody agrees with you. And sometimes they have views that are so different than yours and crazy different and maybe even offensive. You can't shut out the whole world. Now, at the same time, I get it. This is a wedding, right? This is not a normal dinner or whatever. And if you want your wedding to be special, et cetera. I'll come back to that idea. People overhype the wedding, but okay, now that'll create a different drama. But if you want it to be your special day, I get that you don't want it to be a mess. So is there a way to split this baby, if you will? And I think, Jordan, that there is. So I think, banning people from the wedding is disastrous, wrong, no way, don't go that extreme. I think the sign is a little goofy, but then I read two other things in this article that I thought, okay. One was if you're caught discussing politics at the wedding, you get an X on, somebody puts an X on your hand and you can't go to the free bar anymore. Now that'll dissuade people from having the conversation, okay? So even that I think is too extreme. But the idea there is you're cutting them off from the alcohol so they don't start a giant fight. But the one that I liked was if you talk about politics, then you gotta put money in the tip jar and that goes to the couple. All right, that's a perfectly lovely thing to do, and I'd be happy to put money in the tip jar and then talk politics all day long at the wedding. What do you think, Jordan?
So I I like that tip jar idea. That's a good, of everything that has been discussed, I think that's the fun, safest one that makes it lively for everyone. So I think there's a couple different things. You are very unique in that you really will talk to everyone. You've brought this up before, but I mean, you got smeared for having the audacity to even debate David Duke without recognizing that David Duke was a pretty big player in Southern Republican politics in the 90s. The New York Times just smeared you anyway. So just to give people a better illustration, if they aren't familiar with who you are, you're kind of a sicko in that regard. Not everyone is like that. Like, I'm willing to talk to Republicans to a certain extent. This weekend, I went on a trip with a pretty politically mixed group of people, and there were some conservatives there. And I had a great time just talking to them about our differences. You could do that. You can be civil. But there are people, and I think if they're in your family or they're in an extended network and might be on an invite list, there are people who take their Trump fandom to a much more extreme degree. And I think the possibility, not so much ruining your day as the bride and groom specifically, or the marrying couple specifically, but look, depending on when you're getting married, depending on the outcome, let's say it's a week after and God forbid Trump wins, I would be worried about people spiking the football. And it is a different relationship to Trump as a politician for a lot of these MAGA extremists than someone in the Harris-Walz camp who just wants them to win and defeat Trump. So if there is a risk of someone behaving, I totally get taking extra measures. I'm totally fine talking to people, but if they're going to be vile and celebrate, especially some of the worst aspects of Trump as a president or Trump as a politician, no, you're just not coming. This is my day. It's about me. It's not about you. Leave that stuff at home. And if you can't, you're not coming.
Yeah, God, I just view it completely differently. I'm just not that bothered by people's terrible opinions. You know, I've told a story before. My uncle voted for Donald Trump, even though he would have banned Muslims, and my uncle's a Muslim. Doesn't make any sense, right? But I love the brother. He's my uncle. What am I going to do, right? I have family members who believe crazy things. I have friends who believe crazy things. What am I going to do? I love him anyway. So look, at the same time, I get it. Don't cause a disruption at the wedding. Although the weddings are supposed to have a little drama, Jordan. They're supposed to have a little conflict. And this whole thing of like, it's my special day is so overhyped. Just have fun. But when you're like so worried about it, you being so special, then you worry that it has to be perfect, but nothing's ever perfect. So that ruins weddings in itself. That idea does, like that it has to be perfect. That's what ruins more weddings than any political discussion.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm getting married in February, and after these comments, I think you're uninvited. I can't risk it.
Well, that's a sad day, man. You'd have gotten rich off the tip jar on me alone.
Wait, come back.